Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad and SuperCoach Pro. Today we are here with Steve from SDS. How you going, mate?
Going good, mate. Going good, mate. A bit under the weather, but that's all right. Yeah, keen to do jump on, jump off again.
Yeah, bloody oath. It's a day for it, especially outside. I'm in St Kilda at the moment. Going to go to a couple concerts over the weekend. It is brilliant out here at the moment, so loving this. So if you haven't joined us for, sorry, if you haven't joined us,
you're all good, mate.
Jump on and jump off. It's where we look at the hottest players traded out and the hottest players that have been brought in, and we just give our little 2 cents about what we think is the right move for these players. So I'll start off, and we'll go to Perryman. He's probably the most obvious one. He's been traded out of 9% of the sides. Pretty clear that the role isn't there. Probably goes back now with the injury news to I've gone shooting a blank here, but the role's not there. He scored a 57 in a full game, 0 CBAs. So for me, he's definitely a jump off, mate. What about for you?
Yeah, I think the name you were alluding to was Reef McInnes.
That's on.
Yeah, I think he's a trade out. Is he? If you really need another week to sort out and prioritize other moves, I guess you could hold for another week. But while he's on the bye, but probably as soon as you can jump off while you can, the better. There's so many good defender primo options: Clark, Dale, Whitfield, Zorko, Sinclair, that type. So Holmes, Nass. If you can build up money by downgrading a couple of these rookies and then just freeing up money to get one of them, I think that's the play. So I think Perryman's a definite jump off. I'd probably try to avoid going Perryman down to a rookie, because that might mean that you're exposing yourself to 3 rookies on field in the back line, which you want to avoid. So probably try your best to go up.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And the next player we have on here is Sardis. We know the role is clearly there, but he's now broken a finger. He's out for a couple of weeks. He has to bye next week anyway, so you could hold him and use him as a loop for your midfield rookies in best 18. But there's no harm in trading him due to the Parish news that he's going to be back. And if Parish plays VFL next week and the week after, he might actually take Sardis's job, and there's a huge chance that Essendon fans reckon Sardis could be sub. So for me, the writing's on the wall, and I'm probably going to use him to get better rookies at this stage, especially cash gen is so important. And with best 18, if you can get a play missed like Nod, who can actually score you 90s, it's almost like getting a fake premium in the meantime. So for me, I'm going to jump off. What about you?
I don't have issues with anyone holding or moving off. It's just a bit of the unknown with what's going to happen when he comes back. Is he sub? What happens with Parish? That sort of thing. Where, I just don't have an issue if you don't have a Lindsay, or Driscoll, Ashcroft, never that type. And you need someone to move off, then I think Sardis is fine. But if you want to hold due to that low break even, and you never know, like he might just slot straight back in due to a strong preseason. So I'm a bit on the fence here. Whatever works best for your team to get in the right rookies.
Yeah, that's a fair point as well. And then third on the list we have Foss, Sutherland. For me, the role isn't there. Like, he will be a DPP defender, so you could, at worst case, by round 6, use him as like a D5 or D6, depending how much you back deep in the rookie department. But as you alluded to before, the rookies are pretty bad back in the back line, and I feel like Foss is just going to hit the same category. Probably a slow burn as well. But we do know in the preseason he scored a 99, so there is a huge chance we get rid of him this week and he tons up, and he's sort of made us a fool for everyone. So for me, I'm on the fence with this one. Personally, on my side, I'm pretty sure I'm trading him out anyway. So for me, I'm jumping off. But what are you doing with this situation?
Yeah, so I guess context for me, I might be looking to do similar to Brad and trade out Sardis and Finn O'Sullivan. So I guess very similar to Sardis. Whatever works best. I mean, the advantage he has over Sardis, if you hold, is that he can get 2 price rises before Sardis is back, and you never know if he can put in a spike score. I believe he took 2 kick-ins last game against Melbourne, so that's something to think about. But unfortunately, heading into his draft year, he wasn't exactly an accumulator. So that was a bit of a red flag. So yeah, I don't think, I don't even know if he's going to get to 300k. So I think he's a bit of just a stale mid rookie that you can move off if you need to open up again for Ashcroft or uh, and all those other types.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that as well. I think he'll just be a slow man, hence the reason while it's a jump off for me. Fourth on the list, we got your boy Will Day. The role's sort of there. You probably can elaborate a little bit better, but he does play a lot of forward, does cop a tag as well this week with Bedford, and then he's got the bye. So probably sucked a few in of the preseason. Highly owned. One you could probably anti-pod and not hold if you wanted to. For me, you just might as well go up to like a Rosie or somebody that you missed that thinks going to, be top 10 at least in the midfield rather than Will Day. Regardless of his fixture, he's already burnt you. He's going to lose cash. And, yeah, you're probably now or never for me. If you're holding him this week, you're holding him for his buy and then for the first 12 rounds or whatever until he's had his second buy. So, yeah, for me, jump off. Steve, what about you for Day?
Yeah, he's a jump off for me. Yeah, as much as I love him, the one thing I underestimated about the pick in preseason was just how much he doesn't cope with the tag just yet. And he'll eventually learn, but it might take a year or so to get used to it because he's just going to get tagged every week, just about. So, yeah, he'll eventually learn how to handle it, but for now, he doesn't yet. I think he's played more midfield over the past couple of weeks with Warple's injury, but it just means more players are just going into him as a tagger. So, yeah, I think Day is a trade. He's going to cop the Bedford tag. I know they're different builds for players, but I believe that Day scored a 53 when he got tagged by Bedford last year. Yeah, he's a jump off, and then he's got the bye the following week. I think it opens up after the Geelong game, the fixtures, but that's probably too long to wait. You're probably going to lose too much money there. So, love you, Will, but yeah, I think he's a jump off if you got him.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. So the next one we got is Mr. Ice Bath Man. I don't know. He's just playing too much forward at the moment due to a coach coming off in the first 1 minute because he's made out of plastic. So I don't know. He's been named in the midfield tonight. Even if he plays forward against Eston, he's probably kicking 3 or 4 potentially. I can't remember who he's playing on against Richmond, but our defenders are actually decent. It's just our midfield that we sort of lost our points to and the halfback flankers. But if it's for Horn Francis against Essendon, we saw what Adelaide forwards did. Even Saligo scored 106. Phil Thorpe scored like a 97 as well. So some of those forward line players did a job on Essendon guys. So I think Horn Francis being in the spotlight this week might come out firing. On the flip side, he has been in my trade plans as a DPP swing to a Dale type or something like that. So I can see both sides. You're going to have to trade him back in anyway because he probably will be top 6. But if you want to use the money elsewhere and then bring him back in for 400k, you're wasting a couple of trades on it. So me, I'm 50-50, but probably more reluctant to this stage to hold just for the rookie situation, mate. What about you, Steve?
Yeah, I think just make sure you prioritise getting the right rookies in before we do these type of moves. So for the people out there, just make sure you get the right rookies first, and then if you got a guy like Horn Francis, I mean, maybe swap into a Rankin. Could be a play, or if you want to get one of these really good defender primo options, then that is fine. Look, yeah, I'm more in the camp to hold. I think he could bounce back. I know he played a lot forward, but yeah, I'd probably hold. We'll bank on him being a top 6 forward, and ideally a guy that we can just rely on in the forward line for our season. So yeah, I wouldn't be jumping off personally.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point.
Yeah, I don't think the role's horrendous.
Yeah, no, that's right. He still will take CBAs, but last week was just strange.
Probably to avoid the tag, maybe, or
true,
just a way to manage him.
And the 5-day break, between games as well.
Yep. Good point.
Ben Patton, I don't have him, so I don't know if he actually played last week. I'm pretty sure he got dropped. Was it?
Yep, he did.
Yeah. So for me, you're probably not moving him on unless you're trying to go to a cash cow that you believe has actually got good JS, which is probably not a lot of them, to be honest. Like O'Sullivan, it really depends on the time frame from Stewart, who they bring in this week on the team sheets. He's 198 centimetre key position player. Do you really want to bring him in or just wait for this? Sardis has got debuting his game tonight. If he's not sub, I'd rather look at someone like that as a halfback accumulator as opposed to a key position player. So I think you could probably just wait a week. He's on his bye anyway. So for me, it's probably a hold for Patton. What about you, Steve?
So my guess would be people are using Patton to get to O'Sullivan this week. Hence why. Just for anyone that hasn't got Riley Bice yet, maybe just make sure you leave a spot to get him in next week. He'll be an essential rookie that we all bring in if we don't have him next week. So, yeah, you could use him as a loop for tonight with Zach Reed or a Pryor or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, I think it's fine to move off because I think some Sydney defenders are coming back soonish. But I don't know. Just make sure you leave a spot for Riley Bice next week.
Yeah, agreed. I brought him in last week and he scored a 96 on the field with my crystal ball there. So that was nice.
Yeah, nice.
Garcia is definitely a trade out. He was just sub last week. So Ross being Ross, you never know. He probably gets dropped this week, Garcia, for somebody else. And what's the bet they bring back someone like a Hasty and really stitches up for Hasty owners? But yeah, for me, just the role's not there. Too many midfielders in there, and he played a lot of sort of half forward. And then when he did get amongst the centre clearances, just to get dominated, it looked like he was just not big enough for some of these contests and didn't spread well. So for me, he's definitely a trade out. What's your thoughts on Garcia?
Yeah, definite jump off. He's probably got a high break even now, and we thought he'd be a cash cow. So, yeah, I would be jumping off and just please grabbing just any of the rookies you don't have in your side. So, yeah, I'd be jumping off Hugo for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And then next one, probably your favourite on the list here, Flinny Boy. Yeah, those ones that were crazy enough to start him in R2, you might be holding. Yeah, Flynn sort of catfish us all. I'm not going to lie. I had him at flex and traded him out as soon as I knew he was dropped. And BJ Williams, though, was cramping in the third quarter because I don't know. How do you cramp in a game like that?
There was a lot of humidity it was very humid in Brisbane that day, apparently. So I think that's part of the reason, I believe.
Yeah, okay. It's just weird to me because he's from WA, so it's like you're playing for West Coast where it's probably the hottest football anyway.
Yeah, true.
Like, you should be used to this and you're a professional athlete that's in your mid-20s or something. Anyway, I could go for a rant for this with the rucking situation. For me, I actually think the coaching staff don't know who's the best ruck at any given week by the sounds of it. So you might trade him now, but like you were implying to before, it's best at hand, so you don't have to, but you could definitely use his cash elsewhere. So, yeah, what's your story on Flynn? What do you think?
If you've got Flynn at flex, you trade because there's a lot more flexibility with that. That's why it's called the flex, probably. Then at R2, if it doesn't bugger up your team too much, try to get in Cherry. It does for my team, so I'm not doing it. Yeah, if you wanted to just get Cherry, rip the Band-Aid off and just get Cherry, then that's fine. If you wanted to wait a week or two, then you're looking at Max Scorn, who's got Geelong next week at GMHBA against DeConning or Stanley. That's very interesting. You've also got Kieran Briggs, who'll drop a lot of money, and we know solo rucks can go at least 85 plus. So Briggs, I think, is a good option as well. So, yeah, a lot tougher of a decision if you got him at R2. If you got him at flex, that's an easy swap to someone. Yeah, just see how your team looks. If you try to get in Cherry, if you like it, then go for it. If you don't, then maybe just wait for a couple of guys dropping in price, even like a Lloyd Meeks dropping in price as well. So there's a few options coming down if you can free up the cash.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that as well. And then the last two we'll go to is Sanders and Short. So we'll start with Sanders, of course. I'm not trying to rub anything in with these guys, but Sanders, I think he catfishes during the preseason. Like the roles was definitely we thought there with the injuries that they've got, but obviously not. Still looks a little bit lost as well, just in the play. You know, his score was also saved by the fact that he kicked a couple of goals. And for me, just awkward price. You may as well, if Basalenka's playing this week, go up to a Baz or something like that. So yeah, for me, Sanders is definitely out. What do you think of Sanders?
Yeah, jump off if you can. I'm actually holding for another week just because the break even's not horrendous. Like 64 is attainable. I just need to use this money for the Gorn acquisition down the line. So you just hope that he stays in price. Yeah, but Sanders, jump off if you can. Just a really awkward price. Get to Baz if possible. That's a pretty easy swap. And or just go all the way down to a rookie or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, Sanders is a jump off for sure. He runs around like a fairy all day. He does my head in.
He does.
It's amazing how much better of a footballer Joel Frazier looks.
Yep.
Yeah, he's an absolute jet. Sanders, gee, I'm very close to putting a line through him just about. He just doesn't look it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the hair for me.
Yeah.
And the last one, Jaden Short. He's lost all his kick-ins to Ben Miller and Boston. I know. I've been watching the games as a Tigers man, and even out of defence, we're not always going to him as well. They're using players like Banks, Tresias, other run and carry players. Where in the preseason, Uze said that we'll be using him to distribute the ball and take out kickouts, etc. So he's catfished everybody just in what he'd said there, and the game plan's kind of changed since about a month ago. So for me to jump off, in saying that, I'm going to be really controversial here. If I had Short, I'd keep him this week against Saints because I reckon he goes about 100. But the following week, I'd move him on because if you're convinced after this week, he'd have to go 140 to convince you and have a low break even. If he doesn't reset his break even after a big game, I'd give him one more week just to see. But I'm an advocate for definitely trading him at some point. He's just nowhere near best 8 in defence, whereas Matt Roberts got a huge chance of that. So I'd rather go there.
Yep.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm a big advocate for holding for one more week. I mean, I will pull my hair out if he can't go 90 plus against St Kilda. Yeah, I'm a big advocate for holding for one more week. We know it's probably it's just not there as a pick, but I mean, against St Kilda, Connor O'Sullivan went 88. You never know what Short can do. So, yeah, I would try to hold for one more week and just see if anything changes. Hopefully, Ben Miller isn't taking 8 kickouts this time. I just found that unbelievable. It's fucking funny. But yeah, I'd be holding one more week.
And then jump on. So this is our first list for this one, and that's Lindsay. He looked good again. Another 20 disposals in the pocket. When I say pocket, I mean he's actually playing wing, halfback, but just knows where to find the ball. Is very clean in traffic. A really smooth mover as well. Like knows how to avoid a tackle. So I was quite impressed with him. I brought him in last week. I think he scored 78 for me on debut. Probably wasn't expecting that. But yeah, definitely a bring in if you haven't already got him. And I think he'll be a bit of a pod rookie because I think a lot of people won't be able to trade him in come next week anyway and probably get to about 200K. So for me, definitely jump on now. You don't want to jump on next week. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, 100% jump on. Make sure you get him if you don't have him. Shout out to Melbourne, by the way. There's a lot we could say about Melbourne, but they're close to the best with distributing and giving us rookies and giving them decent job security. So, yeah, Lindsay's a jump on 1000%. There's enough dodgy rookie mid options that we can just swap to.
Yeah, I agree. And then second on our list is O'Sullivan, sorry, for the Cats. For me, I'm actually not going to jump on. I think there's going to be other guys debuting in the cards that got a better role. I'm looking at, is it Travalia that's the halfback flanker? Is that right, Steve?
Yep, he's making his debut along with Sardell Hawley tonight.
Yeah. So for me, it's just better options in the wings waiting for that to happen. So I don't think he's a guy you want to bring at 198 centimetres. So he killed elite points to key position defenders and general defenders and pretty much every defender. So for me, I think it's a bit of a catfish game and just job security isn't there with Cole Jasney coming back soon, mate. So I'm actually not going to jump on this pick at all. What about you?
I'm a lot more skeptical of the pick now than what I was on Monday.
Yep.
Now that we hear the news of Sardell Hawley and Travalia as picks become very interesting down the line, along with Riley Bice potentially next week if you don't have him. So we're not in a desperate situation for rookie defenders at this stage. So I mean, if you want to jump on, that's fine. That's fine if you want to, but I think there's a lot more opportunities over the next couple of weeks with defender rookies where we can now pick and choose how we want to go about it with these defender rookies. So, Kolajasnich is a concern with him. It really feels like one bad game and he's cooked for O'Sullivan. Wet game on Saturday night. Who knows how he'll go. He had a good game against the Saints, but I would be it's fine to jump on, but I don't have any reason for people to. I don't have any problem with people holding off.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then for the third one on our list is Nathan O'Driscoll. Just looks good wherever he is around the ball. Gets CBAs. That might come down a little bit, obviously, when Young comes back. But Bloke's just got a 96 in his system, probably going to go up another 60K or so. I think he's probably the best of the bunch, fieldable-wise as well for our midfield. And I'm going to be a little bit controversial here. And I know I've done this a couple of times on a few lives and whatnot, but I reckon O'Driscoll could actually be one you actually keep as your M9, just as a little bit of a guy potentially that if you're selling all the other rookies made enough cash, you could hold him on field and know that potentially you get a look at it in the later season that he might be averaging 90s and he could cover a 1 week injury to, a Lockie Neal or a suspension to a Bontempelli or something like that. So for me, I'm actually looking at these primos and wondering, a premium rookie if you want to call it, and seeing who I can actually hold for future instead of trying to get a ninth midfielder, as you alluded to the other week. You wanted two best players, like another 26 players or something like that. Was that what you're talking about in one of the streams?
Yeah, I'm looking at I'm focusing on trying to make sure that I can get 26 is probably a stretch, but probably 25 premiums this year.
Yep.
So I think O'Driscoll, if the cash generation is good enough this season, that's probably something we can look at for sure, because I think that's certainly doable. I think he can do 85 plus this year. He just looks very good. Fun fact, he actually only had one CBA last game, which is probably even more impressive, if anything. It's because Shy Bolton took some of his CBAs off him, but definite jump on. You're in massive strife if you don't grab him this week, if you don't have him.
Agreed. And now we've got the one that was to take kick out, Bailey Dale. I'm hot on this pick. I don't believe in last year's data because there's a lot to account for with the players coming out of that side, like Caleb Daniel. It looks like him and Fraser are the main distributors in that Doggies lineup, although Dale's taking out like majority of the kickouts anyway. I don't think Fraser's taken a single one really, but his halftime score wasn't flattering at all, but considering he can do like 100-point second half, it's a green flag for me. So they're always looking for him. He also tries to be sneaky and kick a goal as well on the run. So I actually really love this pick. And I'm actually going to say I reckon he's top 8 this year in defence. So I don't mind this as a jump on at all. What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, at 528K, he feels like the biggest bargain out of all the primo options. So Yeah, the back line's just his, really. It's just everything. The ball's on a string in that dog's back line with him. So, fair credit to anyone that started him. I think I guess we were skeptical in pre-season was just due to we didn't see any Bailey Dale in pre-season, and we just didn't know what it was going to look like. And it looks bloody amazing. Just his role. And I think he's got a good run as well. So I don't think there's any tags in the near future.
Yeah.
Just keeping, I guess we got to always keep in mind he won't average 133 or whatever he's averaging right now, but there is a possibility he is definite 105 plus. So yeah, I'd be jumping on Bailey Dale. I really like the role. There's real Lockie Whitfield. Whitfield's better, but like similar role where the ball's just on a string in the back line, he controls it, and he's probably close to being the best kick in the comp, Bailey Dale.
Yeah, no, I agree. Next on our list is Henderson. His basement rookie price, plays more forward if you look at the heat maps. Still kick a goal. He actually scores well for a low disposal kind of player as a half forward. So I actually like the pick. He's probably going to make 100K in a couple of weeks as well. I'm not worried about job security because all these rookies have job security issues basically, and his basement. So he'll get forward DPP as well, round 6. So for me, he's a jump on just based on the ring. He's at the lowest price. In worst case, he's selling for 250 if he does get dropped in round 7 or 8 or something like that. So I think you're making money before you've got those job security issues. What do you think of Hendo, mate?
Yeah, Hendo's good. The good thing with these 99K rookies, I mean, realistically, like these 99K rookies, they only really need to get to 250K to be a real successful pick, and that's easy for him to get to at that price. So, yeah, I think Hendo's a jump on. He'll make quick cash. His VFL numbers were fantastic for Werribee, as Damo was telling me earlier this morning. So, yeah, I like Henderson as a quick cash grab.
Yeah, no, I agree, definitely. Just check your messages and just shoot your quick message. But Joel Frazier is the next one on our list. I think he's actually a jump on. The role is a little bit hard to decipher because he is getting about 33% CBAs. But like Dale, they sort of use this guy to run and carry and break the lines. Again, one of those players that can score huge and a half if he does have a slow start. But for me, if you want to get rid of your D6 because you got Patton, Reed, or Trainer, I think this is the week to get him now or never. And there's a huge potential that he wouldn't be the worst D7 / M9, considering you'll probably get DPP in round 6 as well. It's a big consideration to use that as your future plan. If you don't think he's going to be top of the line in the back line, is a safe M7. M9 D7. So for me, I actually like it. What do you think of Frazier?
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah, he's fine. 370K, definite value. Probably at some point during the year he'll get to around 500K. So I'm a little bit skeptical of his slow starts and really strong fourth quarter finishes, but so yeah, I wonder how sustainable that is. But I mean, it's good value, and I probably prefer him over SDK. So yeah, I'd be jumping on Frazier if that works for you. If it works for your side.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree on that as well. And then fourth last on the list is Finn Callahan. He's one I actually started with before the round 0 game, then all of a sudden he popped off and thought, yeah, everyone's going to jump on. So he's probably a great downgrade if you got a day type or just a midfielder like a Sarong or something that's averaging 100. If you wanted to make some cash, I'm not opposed to using that 160K elsewhere and upgrading elsewhere. So there's things you could do with a Callahan. I just want to say I think he'll only be M8 worthy though. I don't think you want to expect, him be top 6 or anything like that, but he couldn't be the worst M8 in the world as well. And I think he's a genuine season keeper as it is. I think he goes about 105 this season. So might be around the top 20 mark, but I think he can do a job. And if you've got a luxury, around 17, 18 to use a trade, then I'm sure you can do that from a 4-1 primo. For me, he's just a lock. He's got Tom Green feeding it out to him, and then he can go massive in quarters as well. So yeah, he's got the role this time, not playing on the wing, just CBA mid. So for me, jump on.
Yeah. If you can get an M8 for 440k, that's an absolute steal. So he's a definite jump on for me. Looks like he's ready to explode now. Cornelio seems to be on the outer in the CBAs, and just more opportunities opening up for Finn Callahan. He looks fantastic. Absolute gun. Like that Melbourne game, he was just fantastic, even though he went 104. So I have no dramas. I would personally, I wouldn't go any deeper than 5 in the midfield, just because of all these decent rookie options in the midfield. So, if you're running 4 deep and you want to get a 5th in Callahan, that's cool. If you got him, that's awesome. If you want to make it to 6, that's kind of pushing it, but he looks like an absolute superstar. So with no longer the buy, he looks like a option ready to go.
100%. And then the next one on the list, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because I'm surprised people still bring him in. So Jack McRae, if you didn't start him, what are you doing? He's just a lock. He's also a VC or C option this week. It just shows that Bevo doesn't know where to put the players in the right position and how stupid he is in hindsight. For me, just lock and load. If you haven't got him in, grab him this week because you're going to need a nice VCC. So, lock him in. What do you think?
Yep, lock, jump the bloody hell on. If you haven't got him and you don't bring him in this week, you've lost. You cannot win SuperCoach. So, for goodness sake, get him in. The biggest jump on of the season, very likely.
100%. So the second last one on the list is Zorko. Started this guy. He's been terrific. He's huge last half of the game as well. I think he went like a 130 something again. He outscored Neil and Dunkley. So he's been huge from my side. The fixtures there, he's a pig. His time on ground's massive too. Like I watched a lot of Brisbane games and he just never seems to come off unless he's absolutely gassed. Paul's 2 or 3 times in a chain. He's 36 and he still looks like he's 26. He's just one of the best backline players I think you'll get this year, especially for a VC and C lock with the early fixture. So for me, definitely a jump on. It's just who you're trading him from. Because if you're trading him from a Sheasel to a Zorko, they're probably going to average around the same from here on out. So it's a bit of a weird one that people jumping on Zorko at this high price. But if you really needed to, he's your man for sure. What do you think about Zorks?
Yeah, if you can go Perryman to Zorko, then that's perfectly fine. Get that done. This old fart is killing me. So he's a definite jump on. That role is filthy. What I like about him as well is he's obviously pigging it out in defense, but then also can get in the handball chain and have a shot from outside 50. I've seen that a few times. So he just looks fantastic. The Brisbane Lions stock is doing good to keep him healthy, and he's a very good option. Definite top 3 defender for this year.
100%. It's probably why I'm doing so well this year. I'm ranked 1,220, and I think it's due to my starting team for once being really nice for the first time in a couple of years, and even the rookies as well. So the last one we'll talk about is Rosie. I think it was always the case to sort of start a guy like this as well, knowing that he's going to be number 1 CBA mid while Butters is out. He dropped another 130 on the weekend against Richmond, but that was always the case when he's playing the Tigers. Just fantastic price. Even when Butters does come back, he probably regresses, maybe 5 points or so, but the role's still there, and they generally look for each other anyway when they're in the midfield. So, definitely jump on if you've got a failed primo. But I'd be fixing all these rookies first just before I finish this sort of thing. It's rookie correction week for me, other than primo fix Steve, unless you really believe the role isn't there. So what's your thoughts on Rosie and summary of this?
Yeah, definite jump on. One thing I will say, though, with Rosie, I feel like this was more of a starting pick because you're now buying him closer to when Zach Butters returns. But Rosie should get to 600k. He looks brilliant. I'm glad that that intra-club game injury wasn't too bad. So, he looks fantastic. I think he's had 74 disposals over his first 2 games, so that is unbelievable. He just looks captain fantastic, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes tonight. I think he can put in a good shift tonight. So very sneaky VC if you like to just sit back, watch the Thursday night game with the vice captain on someone.
100%. I think he's a great shout tonight. So we'll leave it there for the segment. Thanks again, Steve, for jumping on. Thanks for your time. I know you're a bit under the weather, but yeah, you pulled through and done another shift. You've been doing shifts all day for SuperCoach, so thanks for coming on.
No problem, mate. Thank you for having me on, Brad. It's always good to make the return for jump on, jump off for this year. We've now figured out what we're doing each week, so it's good to do the jump on, jump off series. And it's the most relevant this time of year, making sure we nail down all of the plays before the prices change. And it'll be a very interesting round this weekend.
100%, mate. Well, for everyone watching at home as well, don't forget to give us a like and sub as well to both of our channels. And thanks again for watching. We'll be back at this next week, that's for sure. So that is it for our segment.